Start your countdown to the most delicious Sunday of the year at Whole Foods Market. The Easter in Bloom event is on. Experience it in stores from March 29th through April 11th with irresistible deals and delights store-wide. Save on feast-worthy animal welfare certified meats like spiral cut ham and boneless ribeye. Then add a flash of green to the scene with savings on organic asparagus. Too busy to cook? Don't sleep on their crowd favorite catering. Find all of that plus Source for Good floral bouquets and more at your local Whole Foods Market.
Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, the word sustainable gets tossed around a lot here in the Burgh, and a lot of us do make some kind of effort to not live and eat like selfish jerks. So we're here today with someone to help us make sense of what it all means and how to do it really well. It's Thursday, April 6th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I'm here with Corey Flynn for our regular Thursday food chat. She teaches people how to live more sustainably at Pitt, Phipps Conservatory, and a bunch of local schools. Corey, would you say that Pittsburgh is a good place to do that, or are we complete trash?
I think Pittsburgh is a fantastic place to get started on that.
Good. I'm glad to hear good news.
What's really cool is I say sometimes to my students is that Pittsburgh went from a steel town to a food town. And the really exciting thing is we have Sustainable Pittsburgh, a really great organization that helps restaurants attain platinum, gold, silver levels. And they have over 140 restaurants listed. So when my husband's like, hey, do you want to go out to eat? I'm like, let me see who's new on the platinum list or the gold list. And I only go to those that are sustainable. And it's really exciting to see more and more of them.
Wow. So you really put your money where your mouth is. Wow. That pun works on so many levels.
It does.
I feel like when I first moved here, there weren't that many farmers markets. I mean, they absolutely existed, but I hadn't heard a lot about urban farming yet. No one I knew here composted. It kind of felt like a different place than it does today. Do you think we've gotten better, or is that just my perception?
No, you're totally right. I moved here 13 years ago from Oakland, California, where it's just standard to compost and to eat a vegetarian, organic, local, sustainable menu and, to avoid creating waste. And so when I moved here, it was a little bit of a culture shock, but Pittsburgh literally took it on and they're at a sprint right now and they're doing absolutely amazing things. And I'm so proud of the city. I love being here.
What are you especially excited about? What are some of those things that really are bringing you joy?
Yeah, so I was just at a Tree Pittsburgh event that Wild Ones PA put on, and Shelley Danko Day spoke about the 700 adopt-a-lots that the city has. So anyone can adopt a lot. You can just go in right away and build a rain garden or grow food for the community, for yourself, or grow wildflowers to help all the pollinators.
Yeah.
I think that's the most exciting thing, because that just makes the city so beautiful.
Nice. Is there anything else you're super pumped about?
Yeah, Homewood, Raqui Bay from the Black Urban Farmers and Gardeners is working with Chef Carlos Thomas of Feed the Hood and other organizations to create their own neighborhood-owned grocery store that'll have food from the urban farms around the city. And they have 22 or more urban farms in Homewood. You could almost just walk the entire community and come across multitude of food being grown. And then I want to add one more. Hilltop Urban Farm is one of my favorite places to spend a Saturday and volunteer time. My husband keeps saying, you spend so much time at all these other gardens and farms. How about working on ours? And so I try.
That's shady.
Growing your own food is one way we can save the planet, eat healthy, and be sustainable. So I always have a tomato plant because I absolutely love tomatoes. And growing your own tomatoes, you're going to have the tastiest, most healthy tomatoes.
Yeah, growing my own cherry tomatoes has completely ruined me forever from anything I will ever get at Giant Eagle.
Right? I mean, they are just the tastiest things.
I love that you're such a big supporter of urban farming. I heard that we might have more urban farms than any other city now. Is that true? Or are we myth busting too?
Yes. So I don't know the exact number. I know Seattle likes to say they have the most, but we have over 400.
Oh, wow. We only have 90 neighborhoods. Where are they all?
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. If you look at Grow Pittsburgh's website, they have a map, and yeah, it's over 400. I don't know the exact number. They're constantly popping up all over the place. When I moved to the South Hills, I immediately started growing corn and squash in my front yard, and everybody was like, "What? This is kind of strange."
Corn in your front yard is a commitment.
Yeah, and sunflowers. And everybody thought I was a little bit crazy. And I was like, well, I'm from California, so maybe. And now I walk through the neighborhood with my dog, and there's food growing everywhere, and there are chickens, and it's so exciting.
Start your countdown to the most delicious Sunday of the year at Whole Foods Market. The Easter in Bloom event is on. Experience it in stores from March 29th through April 11th with irresistible deals and delights store-wide. Save on feast-worthy animal welfare certified meats like spiral cut ham and boneless ribeye. Then add a flash of green to the scene with savings on organic asparagus. Too busy to cook? Don't sleep on their crowd favorite catering. Find all of that plus source for good floral bouquets and more at your local Whole Foods Market.
So let's get to some practical tips. I want to start with produce because when I think about eating sustainably, one of the first things I think of is fresh grown local vegetables. So what are your tips or tricks or growing techniques for finding or growing your own local produce?
So I like to get already growing plants from different places. Phipps sells the different fruits and vegetables that you can grow.
Yeah.
Blackberry Meadows Farms, Greg and Jen are phenomenal. I had they have a CSA that is specifically plants. You pick it up at a farmer's market. It's a tray of plants that you can plant with tips and tricks on how to make it successful, which is like so brilliant. So you're getting a really hardy, organic, fantastic plant. Because I don't do well growing from seeds. I don't know why I can't do it. So
I got
it's
all the
nice
gear to do it this year, but I'm still scared and we're running out of time.
I know, right? So yeah, I highly recommend getting it from the farmers market or from local farmers, and you'll get a really nice, healthy plant to grow. So that's what I'll be doing with my tomatoes.
What about CSAs? I mean, they're if you're not familiar, they're those weekly or sometimes biweekly produce boxes you can usually order. There's usually a pretty big upfront cost to those, several $100s sometimes, but then you get fresh produce or goods for the rest of the year. Do you recommend those as a way to, kind of support the food system around here?
Absolutely. And they're growing like crazy. There are more and more local farmers with CSAs, and they will work with you. I'm working with a couple of CSAs to help Pitt students get fresh produce, and they are completely working around a student's budget and a student's schedule. So I think more and more they're becoming more affordable for everyone, and there are ways for everyone to afford them. It's completely worth it, that upfront cost, to be honest. I think you get more than what you pay for, and it helps you to eat sustainably. It helps you to also get the nutrients that you need. And if you don't know what's in the box, they typically
Now I can hear the dietitian coming out in you.
yeah, yes, one bell pepper provides 113% of your vitamin C intake. My poor children, they're like,
put it on your grave.
Right? They're like, please don't tell me the nutrient content. And I'm like, but it's so good for you. Your microbiome is going to be really healthy, happy, happy little tummy. Yeah, so it's a great way to actually like get a food item that is so nutrient dense versus a food item that traveled from California in a cold truck, was pushed to ripen, and has, a quarter of the nutrients, So you are really getting your money's worth.
Yeah, I did one last year too that had like some sort of special stuff. She made soaps, tea towels. There were some plants, tons of herbal teas, and some of them literally made out of weeds I had been trying to get rid of in the back of my garden, having no idea that they had like medicinal qualities. It was a very educational CSA.
That's awesome. Probably dandelion, which is so good for you. And for any of those menopausal women out there, that's especially good for you.
And nettle, a lot of stinging
nettle. Oh, how exciting. My last CSA, they would sometimes throw in cinnamon bread from a local baker, which was so much fun. My kids would go crazy over that because, oh my, sugar. Look, mom's letting us eat sugar. I'm like, if it's local, we can do it.
Oh, I love that as a caveat. So another big part of eating sustainably, of course, is trying not to create too much food waste. What do you recommend in terms of, kind of how to minimize our impact on the planet there?
Definitely. So there are different places around Pittsburgh that are popping up that you can buy in bulk, and you can use reusable items to do that. I love all of my reusable bags. That is huge. Buying things that aren't in plastic is helpful. So if you're buying canned food, aluminum is 100% recyclable. And then planning your meals out is really, really helpful. Soup is like super popular in my house, so I can just take all the veggies that are left over that I'm really worried are going to go to waste, and I just put them all into one giant veggie soup. And then we do compost. We have a lot of different composting options in my backyard, including worms, and I just love worm composting so much.
Multiple options in your backyard alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I love composting. My kids actually, my nickname on their phones is the trash compactor because
Oh
I
boy.
hate trash. And so I'm just always like giving a little lecture on composting and recycling and not creating waste. And so, yeah, I'm the trash compactor.
So what about those of us that maybe have thought about composting but are nervous about starting? Should we feel guilty if we don't compost?
Yes.
No passes. just yes.
No, no. Yes, because composting is so amazing. Compost will take 30% of the moisture from rain, and we have such a water runoff problem here in Pittsburgh. And it does so much for the soil. But yeah, compost is just so amazing. And it was illegal in Pittsburgh for a period of time, and it's now legal, and the city of Pittsburgh is creating a composting pilot.
Yeah, we had that on a recent episode, just kind of talking about some of the ways to get started with it. All of us on the team are in various stages in our composting journey. What about seafood? We're not a coastal city. Can we eat seafood at all as Pittsburghers and also be sustainable?
In moderation,
Does it matter what kind of seafood, like whether it's
it
shrimp or
does.
fish, and what type of fish?
Yeah. Shrimp is a very heavily negative impact on the environment. Fishing it takes a lot of resources. Bringing it here takes a lot of resources. When it is pulled from the ocean, it is also damaging the ocean and damaging sea life. So I actually have been working on a grant with the USDA, with the University of Maryland, and the University of Chennai to do aquaponics with shrimp and greens because we're trying to find a sustainable way to be able to eat shrimp, and that would probably be the most sustainable way we could do it. We're ironing out the details.
And there are a few aquaponics programs in Pittsburgh. I can think of a couple off the top of my head, but are any of them doing it at a level that, you or I could go purchase it somewhere and feel a little bit better about where we're getting our omega-3s?
I don't think so, but they're trying. And I know there's a lot of money coming out of the government, to build it and to make it better. So in the future, absolutely. In the meantime, you can get your omegas from lentils and nuts.
Um, well, so if someone wants to get started, maybe to try a little harder to live sustainably, are there any local resources you could recommend?
Definitely. Like, I absolutely love Phipps Conservatory. Their cafe is fantastic. It is absolutely sustainable. It's such a great example. They have fantastic cooking classes. And then Grow Pittsburgh is another amazing, amazing resource. Sustainable Pittsburgh is another fantastic resource. They're doing such great things.
Are any of those available to folks that maybe can't afford? Because some of those classes, like Phipps especially, they're amazing, but they're a little expensive.
I know they're working on providing options for people who can't afford their classes, but Grow Pittsburgh is completely open to everyone. Also, your local library. A lot of libraries provide free events, and a lot of them are picking up sustainability events, composting, gardening, permaculture. And then all of the urban farms are very, very welcoming.
So gardening is cool. That's our takeaway.
Gardening is cool. Dirt is awesome.
Corey Flynn is a food sustainability educator. You can find her at Pitt, at Phipps Conservatory, and in kid classrooms all over town. Corey, thank you so much for educating/shaming us here at CityCast Pittsburgh.
Yeah, thank you very much. This was so much fun. I love talking about this. So
anytime. And big news, producer Mallory Falk is back from her stint with CityCast Philly. I am so excited. She's got the news before you go.
Thanks, Megan. I'm so happy to be back. The city of Pittsburgh has reached a $275,000 settlement with 7 people who say they were harmed by police during a 2020 protest for racial justice in East Liberty. According to the federal class action lawsuit, police used tear gas, explosives, and less lethal ammunition on protesters. The Trib reports that Mayor Ed Gainey and Pittsburgh City Council still need to approve the settlement. And Allegheny County is getting $1.2 million for environmental projects from the State Department of Environmental Protection. According to Next Pittsburgh, it'll go toward efforts like managing stormwater in Brighton Heights and getting pollutants out of local waterways.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. And we're going to keep up these Thursday food conversations for a while, so let us know what you want to hear. If you enjoyed this locally sourced show off your good taste and let your friends know. Definitely check out that special Friday edition of the Hey Pittsburgh newsletter too. It's always got the dish on the best food and bevies in the burg. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Talk to y'all soon. We were just talking about it, and it's like, okay, if we live here, can we ever eat this? Do we ever get to feel good about that?
Coming from California, I prefer not to eat my seafood here.